Okay. Okay. Yes, I just got to my computer. And as some of you know, the ones that were in my class earlier, my headset is busted. So it is taped together. So do bear with me today. I ordered a new one. It arrived and it didn't have a mic. So that didn't help me a whole lot, does it? So, okay. Primary things that we're going to talk about today are mages. And the four subtypes, if you want to put it that way. The first two are sorcerer and witch. Sorry. Important things. Okay. But I'm going to use this okay. Again, the four subtypes of mages: sorcerer, witch, thaumaturge, and mystic. Now, the basic differences between those are the sorcerer works from tranquility and being self-centered, centering the self, not being self-centered. Centering the self and reaching peace within oneself in order to perform a thing. They are very learned. They do a lot of work from books, a lot of study, a lot of intellectual gathering, shall we say. In some circles, you could say that those are high mages. A witch, on the other hand, uses emotion, passion, drive to perform his or her, warlock's usually the male version, craft. And I differentiate those in the fact that for a sorcerer, I call it an art. For a witch, I call it a craft. Now, there are under witch, there are, aside from, the standard, just straight up, as I said, Wispus has, arts and crafts, exactly, has come up with a subset of witch, the green witch, and the hedge witch, I believe. Now she is working on renaming those, But I liked the idea, and so she's working on the names. But overall, it does have a very nice, it's a nice setup. And it is more of a hybrid with more of a druid witch hybrid. So we're going to call it that. That the subsets that she has come up with are a hybrid for witch, which is which is nice. So a hybrid already exists, and she's working on it. There's a lot of potential there. A thaumaturge is a mage that, rather than using the mana or whatever it is that the force energy that they use, rather than turning it directly into spellcraft like the other two do, it goes directly into an item, whether it be to make potions or to make a sword, turn into fire, whatever it happens to be. There's a lot of different ways you can use thaumaturgy, but it goes directly from the weave or whatever it happens to be into an item. Okay? And then the fourth type of mage is the mystic. And similar to sorcerer, they do focus on peace and tranquility, but they're not really learned type individuals. They more seek peace within themselves and transfer that, well, outward. Well, it's more like a Buddhist monk. Okay? More like taking, the Kai energy within oneself and turning it into a force. Okay? They focus on the chakras. They focus on the energy within oneself to bring it forth. Like Kung Fu, if any of you have ever seen that. That would be not out of the question as to what a mystic is like. Okay? Some of you are old enough to have seen Kung Fu. Yes, it's not new, so the younger generation probably has no idea what I'm talking about. But many moons ago, David Carradine portrayed a traveler who was essentially a mystic. That is what a mystic is like. Those are the four types of mages. Okay? You have sorcerer, witch, thaumaturge, and mystic. Yes, Kung Fu is an old TV show about a Shaolin monk. Shaolin monks, at least in TV anyway, are like mystics. Okay? And you can expand that even to the point of, have any of you watched the Avatar cartoon? Okay. Mystic, they are also mystics. Okay. Extreme version, but a mystic nonetheless. I have not seen the movie so I can't say. Okay? My kids boycotted it, and so I never got to see it. But the cartoon would qualify fairly well as a mystic. Those would being the 4 types of mages. So before I continue forward, are there any questions about that? Okay? Because that's your base. Everything else goes from there. Anyone who wishes to have the hybrid witch that Wisp is referring to, please say something, and then she will pass it to you. Okay? It is a hybrid of witch and druid. Okay? Has a lot of potential. She's still working on the name, so, keep that in mind. Don't jump up and down and stand on your head because you don't like the name. Because blood will rush to your head, and then, somebody have to call the hospital, and then, hey, what are we going to do, right? Okay. So, are there any questions about those 4? Yes. Hedge Mage was my first choice. Hedge Mage was my first choice for the name. But I'm going to let her decide what she wants to call it. I'm good with it. Okay? Yes. Thaumaturge is logical for a artificer. It's perfectly logical for an artificer to take. And if you want to be an alchemist, thaumaturge is a great way to go too. The difference between alchemy and thaumaturgy is alchemy combines things on a material level. Okay? Cooking is alchemy, that you can eat. Thaumaturgy adds magic to that process. Yes, you can consider blacksmithing to be alchemy, just like cooking, Except if you try to eat blacksmithing, yeah, you probably end up with broken teeth. But hey. If you want to do it, I'm not going to stop you. Yes. So, those are your 4 basics. You have a sorcerer who gets their power through learning and reading and books, and are often called high mages. And witch, who they get their power from passion and emotion, and sometimes called red energy. And then thaumaturgy. Thaumaturgy is a form of transmutation, but because thaumaturgy uses transmutation magic. But transmutation itself is a little bit deeper, because you don't transmute a sword into a flaming sword. You can transmute a sword into a flame, maybe, as a transmutationist, but not into a flaming sword, where a thaumaturge is going to turn it into a flaming sword. Okay? Not that it's impossible, because a transmutation is a transmutationist is a specialist, so they can do a lot more than that. A thaumaturge transfers energy from one place to another. A transmutationist turns something from one thing into another thing. Okay? A thaumaturge is more of a conduit of energy, whereas a transmutationist changes the thing into something else. Does that make sense? Okay. Magister Apprentice Cormai, does that make sense to you? No, that's not what I mean. I was using it as an example. It's not that they cannot make a sword into a flaming sword. What I'm saying is a thaumaturge is an energy conduit. Okay, they command energy. They cause energy to go from one place to another, whereas a transmutationist causes the thing to change to something else. They can both make a flaming sword. Well, a thaumaturge uses transmutation magic. Yes. But a transmutationist focuses on changing things. And a transmutationist cannot up the level of magic into someone else like a thaumaturge can. A thaumaturge can take that energy that they're channeling into someone else. Okay? Whereas a transmutationist can't do that. A thaumaturge is like the plug. Okay? You have your light socket, and then you plug it into the wall. Without that thaumaturge, it can't go into a wall. No, a mage can never channel energy into another mage. Never. They never could. Thaumaturge can do that. Now, a thaumaturge is a kind of mage. All right. Mage is the top. Okay. Yes, you can. You're using thaumaturgy to do that because you're a mage. You can use thaumaturgy. All right. But a thaumaturgist is someone who that's what they do. Okay. You can use other people's energy. Okay. But a thaumaturgist, that's their role. That's their goal. That's what they do. Okay. Does that make sense? You can use thaumaturgy because there's 4 types of mages. Okay. And it doesn't mean, because all of them fall under mage. A mage can do that. Okay. All of them fall under mages. But a thaumaturgist, that's what they do. Does that make sense now? Okay. Most excellent. That's pretty good. It's like caffeine. Okay. Now, bear with me. I wrote that up. It'd be a better way to say. When I was sitting in my car, and I passed that on to to little Ninetales. But that should help you at least to a certain degree. The 4 types of mages are listed there. Yes. And both, right, that's correct. Transmuters make a permanent change. Thaumaturges recharge or charge up, whatever way you want to call it. Okay. All right. You see right there, I think she just put up, sorcerer and witch, they both can subclass into specialists. Now all the schools have specialists. Okay. Whether it be, enchanter, evoker, abjurer, diviner, illusionist. Okay. And then conjurer and necromancer, as you see right there. And the reason I put them separately is because, I also have them over there too. But the reason I put them slightly separate is because not only are they specialists in that particular field, but they can also be summoners. All right. Now, all summoners are conjurers, but not all conjurers are summoners. Elementalist and demonologist are conjurers. They are conjurers. Because a conjurer, a summoner, to be more specific, a summoner is a mage that specializes in commanding or calling beings, particularly commanding, really. Okay? They summon beings. Okay? Whether that be a demon, because you're a demonologist, or an elemental, because you're an elementalist, or a devil, because you're a diabolist. Okay? A summoner commands and controls beings from outer beings, beings not from this plane. I didn't subdivide it right there in that particular picture or that particular drawing or writing, whatever you want to call it. Not because they don't exist, because they certainly do. Elementalist is a thing. Demonologist is a thing. Okay? But I just put conjurer because it covers both of them. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. And so see, a necromancer is more of a transmuter than they are anything else. You're correct. Although they are also summoners, the reason that I didn't put necromancer under conjurer is because, yes, they do and can summon beings from the nether plane. They do a lot. They're more of a transmuter, just on a different level than standard. They transmute life and death. It's life and death magic. Okay? Does that make sense? That's why I separated them from conjurer. Okay. Okay. So A witch can specialize in all schools, just like a sorcerer. But do remember that the types of things that occur are different. Example: if a high mage makes a golem, that golem is going to be like an iron golem, or a steel golem, or clockwork. It's going to be, like a different type. Whereas if a witch makes a golem, it's going to be like a scarecrow or a plush golem. If you see little dolls running around trying to kill you, it's probably a witch. Or a straw golem. They do the same kind of things, but they do it differently. Okay? Does that make sense? A flesh golem is going to be more witch, but either of them can do that. Either of them can do flesh golems. No, thaumaturs and mystics, they do not specialize. I mean, they're already specialists, okay? In their own fashion, in a way. They do magic differently, okay? A thaumaturge, in its own way, is kind of a transmuter, but it's not really, okay? A mystic, in its own way, is kind of an elementalist, but it's not really, because a mystic does not summon. A mystic is not a summoner, but it does use its chi energy to cause things to occur, whether that be air, fire, wind, water, or simply force. Those fall under mystic. So neither of those two specialize. However, that does not mean they cannot hybrid. Okay? Thaumaturge hybrids would include Spell Sword and Arcane Archer. Okay? Because in both of those cases, they take the force, whatever kind it is, out of the weave or wherever it happens to be, and puts it into a weapon, whether it's a bow for an Arcane Archer or a sword for a Spell Sword. Those are hybrids for Thaumaturge. A hybrid for Mystic would be like the Samurai. Okay? If they do all the focus, meditation, and self-control that a mystic does in a combat format. Samurai is a mystic warrior. Mystic/warrior. It isn't, okay? And then the new hybrid that we just added, it's name to be determined, is a witch druid hybrid. So you have some healing and some golem making and things of such nature. Okay? That's the one she's working on giving us a name for. And then there's Bard. Okay? Bard is Mage, Druid, Rogue hybrid. And that can be all any of the 4 kinds of mage. Okay? A bard can hybrid from any of the 4 kinds of mage. Each one has its own advantages. Obviously, they're going to be a lot more of a storyteller if it's sorcerer. They're going to be a lot more passionate if they choose witch. They are going to be, they're going to be a more powerful instrumentalist if they choose thaumaturge. They're going to be more focused if it's mystic. But a bard can be any of the 4. And then you combine that with the druid, which means they get a little bit of healing and a little bit of wood lore. And then with the rogue, so they're, a little bit sneaky, acting, they like, a lot of bards are actors, So, does that make sense? Do the hybrids make sense? There's 5 hybrids. Arcane Archer, Bard, Samurai, Spell Sword, and the name to be determined. Right. Any questions? We've about what we've talked about. Mage is the overall. Mage is the parent class. Just like priest is the parent class for cleric, shaman, and druid. Mage is the parent class to sorcerer, witch, thaumaturge, and mystic. Sage is a paragon. Okay? Paragons have full use of 2 entire classes. A hybrid has a little bit of more than one thing. Okay? Do you see the difference there? Does that make sense? Okay. But I'm glad you asked that question, because some people may be walking around thinking, hey, you know what? Yes, a sage has full use of both. That's correct. Eldritch Knight is a paragon, and so it has full use of both, as opposed to a spell sword, which is a hybrid. Or a samurai. Yes, that's correct. No. If you are a paragon, you have full use of both. Arcanist, as in the mage that chooses not to specialize. Is that what you're referring to? Okay. A mage that chooses not to specialize uses all the schools. It's like a general practitioner. Yes, all archmages are arcanists. Because in order to be the top dog, you have to be good at all of it. You know? Does that make sense? Yes. Anybody can be Arcanist. You can choose to be Arcanist. You don't have to specialize. No one's required to specialize. The advantage of specialization is that you become particularly good at one thing. You know, let's say you like playing with dead bodies. You should be a necromancer. Well, focus is different than specialization. Yeah, I kind of like them making them that way, but hey, you know what? That's okay. Because afterwards, see, that's the advantage of me is I just bring them back. We start all over again. We get to play again. How about that? That's right. Okay, Wispus is correct there. If you have two mages the same level, one's an abjurist and the other is an arcanist, the abjurist is going to be better at the abjuration spell they're doing because that's what their focus is. I mean, that's what their specialization is because that's what they've chosen to be specialized in. If you specialize in a thing, you are going to be better than someone else your same level. That's the advantage of being a specialist. A spell sword's not a paragon. A spell sword is a hybrid. Now there are mage paragons. Okay. Mage Hunter, which under Mage Hunter you've got Thorn Gypsy, Nightblade, Spellsinger, and Duelist. Those are 4 types of Mage Hunter. Okay. And if anybody wants to know more details about that, you can always ask. But there's Justicar and Death Knight, which are also mage paragons. Yeah, they're also in the forums. If you want to know deep details, I suggest going to the forums. But if you want to know, you can ask questions and I'll answer them. But deep details, you can do that. Or you can go to the places, look stuff up and say, hey, I still have questions. I'll still answer you. Okay. Executioner is, well, not necessarily. It can be. A mage hunter can be a character that hunts mages, but a mage hunter is part mage. Okay? Like Mage Ranger is a Thorn Gypsy. Mage Rogue is a Nightblade. Mage Bard is a Spellsinger. Mage Arcane Archer or Mage Spellsword is a Duelist. Does that make sense? Yes. Those are the Eldritch Knights. Eldritch Knights are the Mage Warrior combos. Okay? And Magister Apprentice of Veil, just drop those 4 on you. Those are the Mage Warrior combos. These are paragons. A paragon differs. Thank you, Jillo Ninetails. a paragon differs than a hybrid. A hybrid uses some of more than one class, whereas a paragon uses all of both classes. Does that make sense? I can pull it up. But yes, there are more. There are more. I don't think Scion is mage. I think that's why it's not there. Yes, that's right. Yep. It's Druid Cleric. That's why you don't see it. It's because it's not a mage combo. She pulled up. She showed you the mage combos. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, that is correct. But Hierophant's listed twice here. Did I do that? I'll have to go back and look. It's always possible. Perfect, I am not. I don't remember putting Hierophant in there twice, but I'll look. I'll go back and look in just a moment. But aside from that, yeah, if I did make that mistake, I will let everyone know and fix it so we can fix it. Okay, there we go. So it was just a typo. And in this particular case, it wasn't my typo. Druid Mage would be Hierophant, and Shaman Mage would be Hermit. Inquisitor is up under Executioner, and it's not listed here either. Oh no, I'm sorry. Inquisitor is again the okay. Yes. Cleric Mage is Inquisitor. So she just doesn't have the cleric combos on here, that's all. Oh, there we are. Oh yes, because there's two types of Druid Mage. Uh, oh, here we go. Let me look. Let me look. Okay. Yes, Inquisitor is just not listed there. And Druid Mage is Archon. That's what's missing in this picture. Is the Druid Mage should say Cleric Mage Inquisitor. So since you all have that in front of you, if you're copy pasting, go ahead and make that change. Yeah, it's just that under that little copy paste thing is that that was the thing there. Why didn't that change? Oh, because insert is not on. My apologies. Because I am keeping track of some of this stuff as well. Just to make sure that everybody's on the same sheet of music. Make sure that everybody has the same info. So I'm trying to make sure of that. There we go. Okay. That looks accurate. I mean, Sage, you've got Inquisitor, Archon, and Soothsayer. And I'm not sure where Hierophant even comes in, because this is not even a thing. Hierophant is the title that I have given to druids that were formerly Archdruid but are no longer Archdruid. Kind of like an exact equivalent of Luminary, as being an Archmage that is no longer an Archmage. So that must have got slipped in there somehow. Because, yeah, hey, nobody's perfect. Yes, Hierophant is the title given to the Archdruid that is no longer the Archdruid, but was a guild leader. Just like Luminary is the ex-guild leader for mages. Okay. Anyway. Unfortunately, I haven't been there probably as often as I should, because my Gmail never seems to do the right thing. Okay, but anyway, there you have it. Those are the four. That's Mage as the parent class. The four subtypes of mages. The hybrids, which there are now 5. The last one being named to be determined. Yes, there are. The other Mage Druid is the elemental variety. You know, you're correct. And because there's the hybrids, there's the specializations, and the paragons. All of the ones that are directly related to mage. Okay? Are there any questions of anything we've just discussed? All right. Okay. Give me a couple of moments. You guys can talk, and I'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Okay. For some reason, my screensaver clicks in after 1 minute, and I'm sitting here talking, looking at you guys and talking to you, and my screensaver keeps popping up. I might have to figure out how to fix that. Okay. Okay. So, are there any questions as to what we have discussed today? Okay. Anyone have questions? Okay, Jilla Rose, go ahead. A type of sage that transforms into an elemental, the sage elemental, It's not a race, it's a class. It is just, it is a type of, it is the other type of sage. You have that listed as Hierophant. And that could very well be true. Yeah, Hierophant and Inquisitor, that's right. You are correct. So I do have Hierophant listed twice. One is the Sage Elemental, and the other is the super title for a druid. Yes, it is. A Hierophant is a priest, and a druid is a priest. It's not a cleric; it's a priest. It so Hierophant works. In both kinds. So, looking back at this again. Yeah, yes, Archon is the druid mage. And that is the Hierophant that she's referring to. We're going to stay with Archon and use Hierophant for the other. I'll have to look through the row and change what needs to be changed. Yes, Archon is the druid mage, and it's Hierophant. It's listed as Hierophant elsewhere, and that will have to be changed. That will have to be changed. Scanning through this. And it's just like Shaman Cleric is Soothsayer rather than Shaman Mage. Hermit. Shaman Mage is Hermit. So scanning through this. For the elemental HUD would be allowed for we'll have yeah. Archon will replace Hierophant in that you have Inquisitor and Archon. Yes, I believe that that is correct, but for some reason I did not have, did not, it didn't come out that way. It's Inquisitor and Archon rather than Archon and Hierophant. Okay. Inquisitor is where you're headed. No. Inquisitor is Cleric Mage. Oh. Yes. Yeah, I'm looking at that. So I missed that when I was editing. Okay. I see that. So, yeah. Because an Inquisitor is Cleric Mage. So what she's talking about is that there's actually that Druid Mage is split even further, and that is correct. I did do that. I split it even further because I wanted to allow for the Sage Elemental to still exist, but I didn't feel that all Druid mages should follow that all the way down. So I did split that further. But so Archon is correct. So that's Archon and Inquisitor. I need to replace Hierophant, the word Hierophant, with something else, or I need to change. I guess it's probably just easier to call the Druid version of a luminary something different. That's a lot easier because there's not very many of them, and it's simpler than going back and changing the row. Not that I won't be doing a row of 7 at some point, and I'll worry about that at the time. But I'm glad you brought that up. There are 2 types of Druid mages: Archon and Hierophant. The Hierophant is the one that has the Sage Elemental. They, for lack of a better word, instead of generally using Druid powers, they turn themselves into an elemental. Okay, and we will stay with that being Hierophant, and I'll change the other. And I will add that to our little page here. mostly only affects Vana, because I think they're the only ones who have this type of Druid Mage. But hey, Valadasu Magister Paderborn for attending. But I went ahead and added it, even though pretty much it only affects Vana. Currently, Druid Mage and Shaman Mage are lumped together. Machine. Oh, I have. Oh, yeah. I also have Shaman Mage as Hermit. I have Shaman Cleric as Soothsayer. Okay. Valdos for attending. Jellowispus. And I'm gonna have to open mine because obviously I have made some changes that I shared with Acacia that I didn't share with anybody else. Which is not particularly awesome. Okay. But I do not claim perfection. Huh. Yes, on my more updated version. I still I do have Cleric Shaman as Spirit Mender. I have Cleric Mage as Inquisitor. Shaman Cleric. What? I have that twice. Okay. Yes. Jilla Rose has the proper information here. She has the most updated version. So I will have to make sure that that gets put on the website. Because I'm looking at, it's obvious that I gave her a copy that I didn't give everyone else. Maybe I gave it to Argland, I'm not sure. But I didn't update it publicly. Yeah, because of what I have. Mm, my apologies. I know there's moments of silence here, and that's not particularly awesome because that's not how I like to do things. But I am seeing where I missed some things when I edited my work. Zilla Rose, do you have the Druid Shaman combo listed? Huh. Yes, actually, it's not as difficult as it's sounding right now. I apologize that everyone got caught in the crossfire. I will come back later and fix this. I will repeat. I will come back later and fix this because obviously I must have missed some stuff in editing. And since Jilla Rose does have it on a spreadsheet, it might be easier for me to go through with her. And then Jilla Rose, after that, you get with Magister Apprentice de Valtor and get it up on the website. And with the Red Magister, so that I can go, so that I can get a new copy of it all. And this has, I know this has taken forever, and I am going over the same thing a few times. Let's move on. Yes, Master Apprentice Evolve. And Beladas for coming. Jaluk Comreal. It's actually not as difficult as it sounds. We just happen to hit a piece of the puzzle that slipped through editing. That's unfortunately, since I know I'm not perfect, I have requested a few others to edit my work to make sure I get it all out proper. And but no one's perfect, so it slipped through some cracks. So I will have to get that repaired. Yes, that's actually true. Because I am not. And we have these so we can find those little cracks in the wall. Okay. So we're going to fix that in short order. Are there any other questions about what we have discussed today? Yes, sorcerer is not a specialization. It's a type of mage. There are 4 kinds of mages: sorcerer, witch, thaumaters, and mystic. No problem. Every piece of information you know about mages applies to sorcerer. Sorcerer is your standard mage. It's your guy sitting in the library with the big book in front of his face, looking, and the funny looking glasses on his face, looking through the book, trying to figure out how to do a thing. That's your sorcerer. Yes, your wizard. Yes, but in order to make the casting, then you have to achieve that serenity. That's true. Witches usually use innate magic, and sorcerers draw learn from other places. But that's, you know, that's typical, but not necessarily, you know. Are all of those things, so all of that makes sense, right? It didn't throw your minds into 100 loops. Okay. Jalil Ninetails. Are you squared away? You are running the Ithran Guild. Kind of important to make sure that you don't feel like that your hamstrings have been cut. Okay. No worries. Does anyone here know Jalil Nicole de Winter well enough that she's on your friendship list? If she's on your friendship list, let okay. She's looking for help on a thing, and I don't have time to help her. And you all know that I don't go by that. If you just call me by my first name straight up, I'm probably not going to answer you anyway, because I don't play that game. And so, rather than be rude and ignore her, I am letting someone else pick up that ball and run with it. She needs some help on some things. I will let someone do that. Okay. Any other questions here? So everyone got the basic rundown. Mage is the parent class. And under Mage, there are the 4 types of Mage. Okay? Everyone got that. There's like Priest is a parent class. Clerics, Druids, and Shaman are the 3 types of Priest. Okay. It's like, you know, I probably am going to have to do this for rogues sometime, because people stumble and trip over rogue all the time. I guess maybe they do with warrior too. I don't know. I'll have to actually look into that one, I suppose. So if any of you are the guild leader for any of those subtypes, get with me later and we'll talk about it. Maybe I'll have to do that. There are sections on the forum. I'm certain that Jalil Tavaltor has a lot of information there. I don't go there as often as I should either. I'm a terrible person. But I have absolute faith in those that do that. You know. The answer to that question would probably be better answered by one of the two Magister apprentices sitting in the center of the room. Okay. It seems to me that all questions are answered. Is this correct? She was meaning your statement for for how Jalil Nicole de Winter was trying to get my attention. That's what she meant. And the fact that I was not rude enough to respond. Believe it or not, I actually am a gentleman. You know, some of you may or may not understand that. Yes, I cut and paste people, but I am a gentleman. All right. Okay. So we will then, under those circumstances, I will go ahead and close class, and everyone can get back to their business at hand. Yes, I know. Balados Jal for attending class this day. In the middle of a celebratory weekend. Vindaus for now.